Well. Caught on camera once again. My name indeed is Samuel Fosini. It's great to have you on this platform. And of course, this is Boxing Ghana with me, Samuel Fosini. Of course, my co-host as well, Daniel David Cote. We are live on all our media platforms. And of course, I know that we're going to be sharing it to other affiliate platforms like Boxing, Matchmaking, African Boxing News, you name it. Isaac Royal Storm, Douglas Page, the likes of Richard Commey and all. But of course, tonight, as in Ghana, and of course this afternoon, as in the USA, our main preoccupation will be to talk about the succession plan when it comes to our boxing. Indeed, Daniel David Cote will be in-house, and he will be here with me to discuss some of these very important issues as far as Ghana boxing is concerned. Of course, we've actually had the likes of DK Poison, Azuma Nelson. They've all faced through that. Then the likes of Nana Kunadus, right down to Isaac. Did I say Isaac? I Cote, yes. Cote, Joshua Cote, Joshua Clote, I must say, then Richard Commey, we can even talk about our own Agbeko and all that. They've all come through the face. And now we have Richard Commey and Isaac Dogboe topping the chat. But the question still remains, when those two phase out, who are the ones that we think are going to take the mantle when those two are actually no more? And that's what we'll be talking about today. Our main preoccupation will be which other boxers do we think that the mantle will follow? Which other boxers do we see that probably we should invest much in? So that will be our main preoccupation today. The main topic, like I said, when we sit on this platform, our main objective is the projection of Ghana boxing and the promotion of Ghana boxing. Once again, my name is Samuel Fusini. Let me just run you through the very synopsis of the show. First, we begin with news making, the world of boxing, where we touch base on current happenings in Europe, current happenings in America, and of course we also do that of as it were Africa and Ghana as well. For you, those people sending messages, I think you already know the number. Of course, the number once again, if you're oblivious, is +1 815 302 5489. Alternatively, you can leave me messages on whichever platform that you're watching me on. And we were actually, like I said last week, we are introducing a particular segment where it will be our own editorial, where I'll give David like 2 minutes to address a particular issue, and I also do same as well. So we are trying to put one or two things into the show, and I know that you definitely and certainly going to enjoy this show, no two ways about it. So right about now, I probably will have to introduce my co-host Daniel David Cote as we do the analysis and news making the world of boxing as far as Ghana boxing, European boxing, and indeed American boxing is concerned. This week wasn't really a packed stuff, but of course there were other boxing bouts. The professional boxing league actually went on unperturbed and disturbed, and there were some very interesting showings as well. I said when we have time, we'll probably show you some of the matchups. I see that my test console is dropping thick and fast. You can also join soon. You can also join with your messages on whichever platform that you're watching me on, and share the page. And let us also watch it. I mean, tell a friend to tell a friend that Samuel Fosini and Daniel David Cote are actually airborne with boxing court. And today's issue or today's topic is something that they cannot miss. So, like I said, I was a little bit under the weather, but sitting behind the cameras, it's something else altogether. David, very much welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, I'm even not gonna ask you where you are because that's another together. Anyway,
at the right time.
Sure.
At the right time, my location was in bed. Yeah.
Sure. I'm sure that this is an exclusive anyway. I'll be touching base with you, not too waste about it very soon. But that's matter aside. David, what's happening in the world of boxing? Anything you want to tell me about before I tell you what I know?
Yeah, mostly the one that is dominating the airline is the comeback of Deontay Wilder, and David Haney fight against George Kambosos. David Haney has arrived in Australia. Unlike the first fight that David Haney arrived in Australia without his father, by this time he was able to arrive in Australia with his father, with his whole team behind him. So I can't wait for the rematch between George Kambosos and David Haney for the undisputed lightweight belt. For me, I think it's going to be a crunchy fight. the first fight, we all saw Devin picking up the pieces, picking up the pace, beating George Cambosos to the punch. And I think the second fight is going to be a different ball game together. George Cambosos is coming to the fight with a lot of experience that he garnered from the first fight. And for me, it's not going to be an easy fight for Devin. Though he might win, but he has to dig deep to get the win against George Cambosos.
But if the first fight was anything to go by, then it definitely you know that it's going to go one way. Don't you subscribe to that argument?
I would say I might side with you, but I would say the first fight, George Cambosos, knowing that he is the champion, he owes three bets, while Devin has one bet. George Cambosos felt comfortable. He was fighting in front of his own crowd. He has everything under his sleeve. He wasn't, though Devin in terms of the lightweight division is one of the top dog, but in that fight, Devin, George Cambosos wasn't seen as the underdog. He felt too comfortable and he was complacent as well, and that went against him. But in the second fight, he knows that he has lost his belt and he has to reclaim his belt. He has to make sure or put fear in Devin. He has to announce himself as the top dog. He has to also take claim that his win against Sofimo Lopez wasn't a fluke. So he's, he's going to go out into the fight all gun blazing. And for me, though he lost the first fight unanimously, but for me, the second fight is going to be very close. The second fight is going to be action packed, and definitely it's going to come into the fight with a different strategy, different mentality, and open to seek a revenge against Devin.
Of course, it's going to be revenge time for George Cambosas. But of course, we all know what happened. For me, I'm not expecting anything different. I think that this time around, Haney will be much more prepared, much more organized because, you know, with the first fight, he had challenges. He couldn't even go with his dad. You know, his training camp didn't go. He didn't have a full complement of his training camp as well. But this time around, all those, as it were, minuses have been added onto it. So it's all pluses for him. And for me, I'm not expecting anything different. I'll be very honest with you, David. But let's talk about Deontay Wilder. He says he's got 3 years in boxing. And of course, the statue that was done in his honor in his own hometown has propelled him to want to come to boxing and, of course, cement his name as one of the kingpins, the kings, when it comes to boxing. I mean, he says that he wants to be the people's champion. And he thinks that with the honor of that statue that was done for him, it's enough motivation for him. Do you think that 3 years is enough for Deontay Wilder, who has been beaten back to back by Tyson Fury, to actually cement his name as one of the best or boxing greats in terms of the heavyweight?
It's now staying active in the next 3 years, but he has already cemented his name as one of the best heavyweight boxers and one of the best punchers in boxing, because for a boxer to defend the heavyweight championship for 10 years is no fluke. And though he has got red and late in his record, that is back-to-back losses, but he lost to one of the best heavyweight boxers currently, that is Tyson Fury. And the 3 years that he's talking about is going to make sure that he fight the best in the division. The likes of Anthony Joshua is there, the likes of Usyk is there. A third fight against Tyson Fury, I don't think it's going to happen unless the unthinkable thing happens. There are a lot of big, big guys in the heavyweight division, and I think his comeback just is going to propel him. Maybe his first fight after those losses is going to propel him for another championship. But he has got a lot of heavy hands ahead of him, because to fight somebody like Alexander Usyk, because of his boxing IQ, it's going to be a difficult fight for Deontay Wilder if he get the opportunity to fight Usyk. Fighting against Anthony Joshua, the likes of Joseph Parker is there, Jojo Joyce is there. So the 3 years is not going to be an easy journey for Deontay Wilder. But trust me, he has got what it takes to put any boxer to sleep. Though he lost back to back to Tyson Fury, but he lost to one of the biggest names in boxing and now. But that 3 years, he has already cemented his name as one of the top dog in the heavyweight division, and his name is definitely going to be seen in the history book of boxing, even if he should retire now.
Well, indeed, his name is going to be cemented in the history books of boxing, according to Daniel David Corti, talking about Deontay LeSean Wilder. But let's come to our own terrain. And in Ghana, there was the Professional Boxing League, very interesting matchups. And for you, which one stood out for you?
The truth is, I did not follow, but I just read comments on social media about new prodigy just showcasing their talent at that platform. It's not about the organization of the boxing league, but it's about the unearth of new talent that we are currently seeing at that stage. And for I think the coaches and the managers and the organizers of the show, respective of certain things which is being said about the professional league, how it's being run. But my most important thing is we getting boxers, we getting quality boxers, we getting raw talent that the coaches can shape them to become a great future boxer. So that is my concern. And I think each and every week we kept on seeing new talent. Each and every week we kept on seeing new faces in the boxing arena. And I think it's going to help the growth of boxing.
Well, indeed, it's going to help the growth of boxing. That's according to Daniel David Cortier. Of course, there's a lot happening in the Ghanaian boxing scene. Interesting enough, as it were, with regards to the GBA Congress, we are told for a fact that it's been postponed. Of course, stakeholders met. There were some few hitches here and there, but at the end of the day, I believe that there was a conclusion to the effect that the date will have to be, adjourned and set for a different date. There were some excesses, but I don't think we want to talk about the excesses. But David, you got to know that the date has been changed, and very soon will be as it were, it will be communicated to us to the new dates. First of all, how did that make you feel, knowing that there was some constitutional anomaly and now it's been rectified?
Yeah, I think that it is a step in the right direction because those stakeholders that raise questions with regards to the anomalies had a case, and based on what the constitution was saying, the GBA had in the first part because they wanted the GBA to go according to what the constitution says. So the GBA has listened to their plea and is scheduling the Congress to a date that will suit or go in line with what the constitution said. I think it's right in the right direction. That shows that the stakeholders and the GB are going to work hand in hand and make sure that anything that they do will not affect the projection of boxing in the country. So I think it is a good in the right direction.
Indeed. Well, it's a step in the right direction. And anyway, there were some interesting and substantiated stories, but I don't want us to go into that right about now. I probably will want us to turn our attention to our main topic for today, because today we're doing exactly 1 hour. So, thanks, Richard. Yes, go ahead.
So we shouldn't forget that on Friday, Afelante went all the way to Tanzania to pick a win. And this evening, there's going to be a WBO lightweight championship between Sheriff Kwe and Otto Joseph from Nigeria. So I think for Afelante,
let's talk about
a young kid.
Let's talk about Afelante. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's a young kid, and he has promised. He has showed that with time he will be a great boxer. If only he will be guided well. If only he will not be complacent. Because I believe that for you to build a boxer, it's not always that the boxer should be fighting at let's say his comfort zone. Sometimes you have to move the boxer out of his comfort zone to have a feel of fighting away from the fans. And I think going to Tanzania, win will boost his morale, will boost his record, and he will be fearless as times comes. And I think he's being handled by Alexin Tiamwa. We all know when it comes to Alexin Tiamwa, he has done so well in terms of shaping boxes. He has been one of the best promoters that Ghana can mention of in the last 10 years. And having a boxer like Rafael Lamte, taking him all the way to Tanzania to pick that vital win is going to boost his boxing career.
Well, indeed, he's going to boost his boxing career. Let's talk about Sheriff Quay. We know for a fact that he's also very ready to make Ghana proud. Sheriff Quay, what do you know about him and his
Yes,
fights?
I've known Sheriff Kwe along because he's a Jamestown boy, and I was born and bred. I was born and bred in Jamestown, so I know him very well. But he's a fight talent, but due to certain things, which sometimes on his part is he became complacent. He was indisciplined. Not if I say indisciplined, not like he doesn't respect or something, but indisciplined in terms of the sporting aspect.
Complicit.
And so he became a little bit sluggish. He was slacking until his back, and then he had a back to back losses against
Mike Lanza.
um Michael Ansan one bullet. Then he came back to win a fight and before going on to win the WBO. So he's going to defend his WBO African Lightweight Championship against Otto Joseph, who in his career has been fighting or most of his fight in Nigeria. He has fought Ghanaian boxers like um um uh, how do you call it, Akufo-Addo. He has fought boxers like Benjamin Lamptey, that number. So he knows how to fight Ghanaian boxers. But Sheriff could fight in front of his own fans. This is the best opportunity for him to prove that yes, he's one of the fine talent that you can mention when it comes to Ghanaian boxers growing up in the lightweight division. And winning or defending his belt definitely is going to boost his ranking in the WBO. Currently he's ranked I think number 50 or number 60 in the WBO ranking. And definitely defending the belt will definitely push him up in the ranking. This is the opportunity for him to make himself proud. This is the opportunity for him to show that Ghana boxing has not died, and this is the opportunity for him to defend the flag of Ghana.
Well, people normally complain about Sheriff Quay that he was a box to box kind of boxer, and he decided to change to the touch and go, perhaps emulating Emmanuel Tego, and ever since he's not been the same kind of boxer. Now I know that he's under the tutelage of Carloco and everything, but what do you say? I mean, how does that make you like assess him when you hear comments like that?
Like I said, he's a fine boxer. He has a very good job. He can move a lot in the ring, but sometimes you cannot just emulate somebody. Like if you want to emulate the way Floyd Mayweather fights, you have to be practicing that for years. So I think those people making that assertion, they are right because you have to be yourself. Because you are noted for moving, you are noted for going in, you are noted for boxing. But trying to emulate somebody those people are right because he took a tone effect in his career, and you cannot just emulate somebody with only 1 month or 2 years. For since then, I kept on saying that following his back-to-back losses to one bullet and it has really woken him up. And it's for me the report that I'm picking from his camp is not leaving any stone unturned. He's going all the way, all out against Otto Joseph, and he has been himself now. He's not trying to copy, and he's not trying to do copy and paste in the ring in terms of emulating somebody, but he wants to be himself. He wants to be the Sheriff that people know him to be, and that is working for him now after his back-to-back losses against one bullet and down.
Well, indeed, after his back-to-back losses against one bullet and that fight was something else, I tell you. With so many people following. But let me read this one by it's a writer by Samuel Fosuine. Did I say Samuel Fosuine? I'm mentioning my own name. Sami Hewudokan. And he says that it was a sheer bamboozlement for fight fans who thrown into the Book of Boxing Arena. I mean, frantic display of boxers on the bill and a resounding dose of entertainment at the 14th episode of the Deluxe Professional Boxing League. Patrons defied the showers that had kept pouring steadily throughout the day, and it was definitely worth it as the excitement that pervaded the venue was veritably palpable. I like the grammar. Anyway, the night kicked off with a welterweight contest over 6 rounds between Atukwashi James Aminu Kwashi and a former kickboxer NS Ampa from Akotoku Academy, where both boxers were poised for victory as they were coming off impressive wins in their respective previous outings. What about was that skillfully contested with multiple knockdowns? Was seeing each fighter visit the canvas at least once. The final verdict was majority draw. Well, the next was debutant Paul Saki, the pride of Choco, who blasted out a heavily muscled Samuel Afole in the round of 2 of their light heavyweight contest. That's nice, light heavyweight contest. Then came a complete thriller. That's Muhammad Fuseni, CQBF versus Jerry Klute from the gym. I'm told that the fight was fit for the gods. I like to use that always when I'm writing it. It's interesting. High level display of skills, tenacity, aggression, and proper conditioning was what these two displayed. Where both boxers commanded mammoth fan bases which kept chanting and yearning for more. Well, in the end, it was a majority decision win for Fuseni. As a result, which was debatable and resulted in protest from a section of the fans. Well, in the bantamweight division, prospect in Oktete, Sonia Jim engaged Wisdom boxing James David Tego in another unfortunate encounter, with Tete earning a split decision victory on the cards. Eric Kwam from Free Square won on points against Bernard Ankra, and Black Panthers boxing gym in a super featherweight fray over 6 rounds. Of course, man of the moment and crowd puller Charles Tete of the Panics gym put up another ferocious display, scoring a stoppage win over Michael Tego of the Seconds Out boxing gym in round of 2 of their featherweight battle. So, I guess basically that's the summation of everything that happened in terms of the professional boxing league. Of course, keep your messages coming, and I would love to read them. Wherever you're watching us, keep your messages coming, and I would love to read them. And we are just gonna now major on our main preoccupation. In Ghana, one major problem that we have is that we we measure on the minors and minors on the majors, and I think that is something that we want to defray away from. So when David and I sit here, there's definitely we just looking at the betterment of Ghana boxing, not to waste about it. And David. So now our main topic for today, Richard Commey, Isaac Dogboe. I mean, they've paid their due. They are now former world champions. They are still aiming high. They want to be 2 division world champions, and but every time you always have to talk about succession plan. I mean, we talk about the fact that Commey is in his 30s, middle part of his 30s, and Dogboe, yes, he's itching towards the 30s. So we need to have a proper succession plan for all these boxes. I'll tell you what somebody's take was on, and the person says, with the IMAX Media Promotion, the Deluxe Professional Boxing League has exposed many boxers. Many have made their debut. Many have made their debuts and are seen future as very bright. In fact, it's always bright. It says our coaches need some refresher courses. For the future, we have Samuel Techi, Alfred Lamte, George Ashi. I don't know about George Ashi, but anyway, he says there are many unknown boxers who can shine when offered the platform. And he talked about Michael Deckard Nelson, Charles Tete, Soja Aduku, Raymond Fenyi, Joseph Akainete are all stars of the future, but they need training, exposure, and motivation. David, do you agree to this list that has been provided by another media guru?
Yes, I mean, I do agree with the list. For me, it's not only about having succession plan, and it's not only about having succession plan for the boxers, but a plan that will shape the boxer in terms of management, in terms of promotion, in terms of coaching. All these 3 elements can come together to get the boxer to die highest and fit. Let's take an example like Shakur Stevenson. After the 2016 Olympic Games, then he turned professional. Within space of 6 years, Shakur Stevenson has become a two-time world champion. He has won the world title in two division class and weight division, that is the featherweight and super featherweight, and is now moving to the lightweight division. And he has become unified world champion. Take somebody like Kishon Davis, who after recent Olympic Games, he has turned professional and is now seen as one of the likely prospects in the game. So it's not about only having succession plan for the boxer, but elements like promotion, management, and coaching comes together, works hand in hand to put the boxer at that stage. And I think for Ghana, we have been lacking in that aspect of our game because let's say somebody like Samuel Techi is an Olympian, he has won bronze medal at that highest level, but he's being handled by high quality who knows the in and out of boxing, who has been a former world champion, who has worked with top promoters like Lou Libella, who has the opportunity to fight pay-per-view against Oscar De La Hoya. So it's about getting the right man behind the boxer to push that boxer to that highest point. So I agree with the tester. You have to get good managers, we have to get good trainers, and we have to get good promoters to push the boxer. You can have raw talent, you can have good talent, but if they don't that boxer don't have the right man person behind them, sometimes their talent will go away.
Well, indeed, sometimes their talents will go waste. But David, um, let's talk about some of the boxes we think that are prospects, some of the boxes that can emulate. We'll talk about the other aspects with management, with training and refresher courses, like he also stipulated. But for you, who are some of the boxes that you've pinpointed and go like this boxer needs to be watched, or this boxer needs all the training, needs all the support in order for him to get that far? I can say that Afelante is one of them, John
Yeah.
Zilli, as it were, but which boxes are some of the ones that you've seen that you think that must be proper, as it were, scrutiny and proper attention must be given to?
And these boxers they are very young. Samuel Tichi is very young. He's a prospect. Mohamed Aikwe, the young child that fought here last month for a majority draw. You have Afelante there. You have Michael Dickerson there. You have you just right mentioned John Zale is there. You have John Kwe. If all these boxes are put together and they have the right people, like I said, they have what it takes to make Ghana proud because since DK Poison won our first world title, we have had different boxers from in different weight classes to win world title for Ghana. And since Richie Commey lost his world title in 2019, we have gone 3 years without world title. Now we have opportunity for Isaac Dogbe, who is about to fight for another world title. So the journey hasn't been easy, but for me, as a boxing fanatic and as a Ghanaian, I would love to see multiple Ghanaian boxers holding the world title, like the Mexicans, like the Americans, like the Puerto Ricans. It's not only about we having one belt at a time, but we can have multiple boxers holding world titles. So the names that I mentioned, they are prospects, and with right guidance, they are capable of making Ghana proud at the world stage.
Well, indeed, they are capable of raising the flag of Ghana high at the world stage. We're talking about the other elements that makes a boxer. We're also talking about the contributions, what the likes of Azuma Nelson, the likes of Richie Commey can impact, especially Richie Commey and Isaac Dogo, because with the time that Azuma Nelson was at his hem, like at his peak, things were a little bit different. Boxing was run a little bit different as compared to now. So we also have to look at the other aspects where some of these world champion or former world champion boxers, what they can do for the others who are actually coming as well, even if it's mentorship and all that. I'm sure that they have something that they can give it to them. But of course, let me read some few messages that have come through. Confidence Teiko is actually asking how you can join the the discussions live. I really don't know your portfolio and on which basis you want to intervene, but I'll read this particular one. John, he says Ray Adai. He says John Zille is going to be a very good talent. Believe me, of course, we do believe in John Zille as well, of course, as it were. You can also send your messages via the social media platforms wherever you're watching us. Leave a message, and this one is asking how you can join the conversation. David, do you know this man in any way? Confidence Teiko.
No.
You don't. Okay. So confidence. You can leave a message with us, and of course, we would love to read your message out. Perhaps you can also tell us why you want to intervene in the conversation. Perhaps if it's well signed, then why not? When we sit on this platform, basically we plan the show and we know the course with which we want to take the show. So if you want to make an intervention, it has to be something that is really needed, like a point of information or a point of correction. So kindly let me know the background with which you want to intervene in this conversation that we are having. But of course, you can also join the conversation on our media platform and also on my line on +1 815 302 5489. Once again, it's +1 815 302 5489. It doubles as a normal messaging and WhatsApp as well. So let me hear from you. Already the messages are coming thick and fast. David, now let's look at the other aspects. Like you have the likes of Samuel Techi. For him, perhaps he's little bit lucky. He's being guided by a former world champion in Ikote. And of course, he's being managed as well by Ikote's son. For many, there seems to be a little bit of conflict of interest. But I mean, what can we do with the Ghanaian setup? That is how, it comes with the baggage, it comes with the territory. What do you think will make the likes of Samuel Techi? Is it good training? Is it proper exposure like they are doing now, taking to South Africa and all that? Or is it that we should probably have a particular fund which can send them outside to fight, just to get exposure and all that?
Yeah, sorry, the talent is there. He has the right guidance, but as to in terms of the financial power, does Equity has the financial power to push somebody to the world market? Like I said, sending a boxer to become a world champion is a plan. It's not just a one day show. It is a plan. And example can be cited for Isaac Dogbe and Richie Commey. It was a plan that his managers had for them, and it worked. Somebody like Richie Isaac Dogbe, they had a plan. They worked with the plan, and he became a world champion. Same as Richie Commey. So you can have a good boxer, you can have the right manager, you can have the money, but if you don't have a plan, the boxer can never become a world champion. Look at top rank boxers. Look at Keshawn Davis. He's been shaped. He's been protected by a top rank, and he's being pushed to the market that he will become marketable. He will become valuable. That top rank as a company will definitely yield something positive from Keshawn Davis. Now you have somebody who is a fine talent, who has got exposure in terms of boxing exposure, and Ikote, who has been in the ring for all his life, who has won his world title, who is who even himself has been an Olympian, who has even won gold medal at Commonwealth Games, knows boxing a lot, and he has the eyes whenever you want to see or you want to project a boxer to become great. But the big question is that Ikote has the right structure to send Samuel Techi to become a world champion. It is another thing because the brand Ikote can easily push Samuel Techi to the world stage. So I think they are now moving in the right direction, but they have to have a good policy. They have to have a good strategy that can help Samuel Techi to become a great boxer in the division that is fighting. He's now at the super featherweight division. And looking at the super featherweight division, you have the likes of Oscar Valdez there, and it's a very, very tough. So, but sometimes one mistake, sometimes we Ghanaians does it. Sometimes we look at our boxer, we look at the body structure of our boxer, and we don't get them the right weight for them to fight. We normally push them to different weights that they are not up to that level. And anytime they step into the ring with big guys, they get beat. So I think having a good succession can help the boxer to win a world title. I kept on using Ezegbe as a focal point. When Ezegbe came to Ghana and he was fighting in the professional ranks, he was fighting at the featherweight division. He seemed out to sit back, rethink, re-strategize, and go down in weight. And he started fighting at the bantamweight division. And truly, he was in the super bantamweight division, and he was on that rope that helped him to win the world title until he lost the belt to Emmanuel Davarete. So I think it's not only about pushing the boxer to the ring to fight, but you have to have off the ring strategy that you know that this is the kind of strategy that we are working with. And this strategy, within the next 2 3 years, we are going to win the world title. Within the next year, we are going to win the world title. Or within the next year, we have to be seen as one of the top dogs in the division. So it's not only about fighting in the ring, but you have to have a good plan of the ring.
Okay, so you need to have a good plan of the rig. Elsewhere, I know that managers actually put on the paper as to what they want to do for the boxer. Sometimes they even chronicle the kind of fights that they will, as it were, align for that particular boxer until the boxer attains the feat of getting into the rankings and possibly getting a shot, as it were. What kind of managers do? Is it a case of we trying to get some of these managers to understand perhaps the business aspect, not just the show aspect of it, but the business aspect of it, where they do have to lay down their plans as to what and what they want to do for the boxer, how many fights they think the boxer will fight in a situation where the boxer should lose. What is the comeback, the 10-hour plan, and all that? Is it the case that our administrative structure must put those things into place so that our boxers are well catered for in terms of their plan to the plan of them getting into the world title shot?
Yes, I mean, the politics in boxing now is if you don't have the big men that you can use them to achieve something to be very difficult. And
When you say the
that is
big men, who are the big men, David?
for me,
Mm.
we have Samuel Captain, who is the WBO red in Africa.
Yeah.
And that is one thing I dove my heart out of to our promoters. They are really using Samuel Captain. They are really now most of our boxers are ranked in the WBO because of Samuel Captain. Because whenever there is going to be a WBO convention, he is going there to argue for African boxers and basically for Ghanaian boxers. And I think that is working. You have the likes of Yofi Bowen, who is recognized, who is well respected by the WBC. These are the people that we have around currently. But I feel like we are not using them wisely, right? We are not using them wisely. These are people, whenever there is a convention, Dodo became as a baby because of Yofi Bowen. He was able to argue his way through for Isaac Dodo whenever there is going to be a WBO convention. But we have promoters, we have managers in Ghana who don't even attend convention. They don't attend IBF convention. They don't attend the BBA convention. They don't attend the BBO convention. They don't even attend the BBC convention. If you could remember, I think early this year, or last year, when there was the BBC convention in Mexico, Canelo, who is not even ranked in the, I think, in the cruiserweight division, was at the convention and he made his case a note that he wants to fight the WBC champion, and he was granted the opportunity. So if you don't attend the convention to make your case known, sometimes you might be having a good boxer who has all the belts, but if you don't go there to argue for your boxer will not be seen. And this convention is used. Most of the promoters and managers use this convention to push their boxers to the ladder. And I think our managers and our promoters are lacking those things. And that is one thing that they have to state that is one thing that they have to start doing. Even if you don't have a boxer who is well ranked, attend the convention, make your case known. so that the world will also see that there is a country somewhere that has a lot of boxers. There's a country somewhere that has produced a lot of great champions. So if you don't go to the convention to argue your case, nobody will see the effort your boxers are putting in. But thank God that we have Samuel Captain who represents the WBO, and Yofi Boam is also respected by the WBC.
Well, indeed. So, is it a case of us getting some of our so-called big men into very important places so that they can work on our behalf?
Yes, yes, it's very, very key. It's very, very important
So, in this
because
case,
all the convention that is being done by the sanction body, top rank is always represented. Matchroom boxing is always represented. Zanfa, Zanfa, that promotional outfit in Mexico, they are always represented. What about our promoters? What about our managers?
mm. so, but do you like the way, as it were, with our promoters, managers, um, you like the way they position themselves in the market? Because it seems to happen that um, most of these coaches are not getting refresher courses. They are only using the old ways as well. So we also have to talk about the technical and the tactical aspect of it, apart from the managerial aspect, the branding aspect, and the in quote connection aspect of it, as in having good rapport with the big men and all that. Let's also look at
I mean,
coaching. Let's also look at coaching, because most of our coaches are using the old archaic ways to train our boxers. We are not saying that they should get all the needed technologies and all that, but once in a while, some of these good refresher courses, so that they understand the technical and the tactical aspect of the game as well. What do you say to that?
I mean, I can't, whenever you talk about courses,
Hmm.
they will tell you they don't have that financial backing or that
It
financial
could be
strength.
mentorship. It could be
Is that
mentorship.
what?
It could be mentorship if you can, sponsor some of the coaches, come to the US, being mentored by some of the various coaches, or maybe in the UK. I mean, there are some very good coaches all around
I mean,
Europe, America.
what I'm trying to say is,
Okay.
even if there is no money for that sponsorship, we live in a technological world that if you want to understudy somebody like Floyd Senior, you can do it with ease. There are a lot of videos about him training his boxers. At least maybe you might not have first and mentorship from him, but
Mm.
sitting from afar watching videos, you can learn something with the new techniques in boxing. You can learn it from YouTube, right? So I think it's not about getting there, staying close to him to learn something from those great coaches, but their videos are all over on YouTube. If you really want to learn, if you really want to change the style of your boxer, you can go to YouTube and learn it. And I believe it's not only about Florida senior video, it's not only about Freddie Roach video, it's not only about Eddie Reynoso's video. But I know there are trainers who come on YouTube just to tell or just to speak about new techniques in boxing, just to speak about how you can adjust your boxer in boxing whenever the going is getting tough. So it's not only about flying them to United States, it's not only about them flying down to United States to mentor them, but they can go to YouTube to learn the new techniques in the game.
Okay. So what you say to those coaches who are like not so educated? Could there be a platform where some of these videos will be downloaded by well-meaning people, even if it's the GBA, as it were, and just get some few refreshments here and there, and let them watch, let them understand some of the tactical aspects of the game and all that.
I mean, look at it.
Hmm.
For me, I know this is not the job of the Ghana Boxing Authority. One, the reason being is
Mhm.
there is a coaching association of Ghana in the country,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So what are they doing?
Okay.
Is it that their job? Is it that their job is to uh, 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 organize a meeting, pay dues? Oh, their job is to organize themselves, go for election. No, at least this is the biggest platform for them as coaching association in the country. It's not only about meeting and saying they have to meet and discuss our new techniques in the game. At least they have charm. It means that their chairman should be informed with how boxing has changed in terms of how fighters are fighting now, in terms of how fighters are standing now, in terms of how fighters are cutting corners now. Sometimes they have to be discussing this thing among themselves in the meeting. It's not about going for a meeting and only discussing about how do we going for election, or how people will be paying for dues. They should be discussing about taxes. They should be discussing about the technical aspect of their game. That's why they have the association, and that should be their main objective.
Well, indeed, that should be their main objective. So the coaching, the ball has been laid squarely in your court, more or less. So the Coaches Association of Ghana, this is some things that you guys can do. So for now, there will be no excuses from you guys anymore. Is it a case of inferiority complex by our coaches, or is it a case that we do not have confidence in our coaches, David?
Sometimes our coaches don't have confidence in themselves. Yeah. You know, one thing, ask yourself, okay, the likes of somebody like Floyd Mayweather Senior, that shoulder roll strategy, who did he learn from? Nobody. He formed his own. So can't our coaches sit down for a while and say, okay, I've followed boxing for the past 10 years and I've learned a lot of techniques. What other new techniques can I also bring into the game? It's not about learning from somebody. It's not about trying to emulate what somebody has done. It's about you trying to bring out something new in the sport, right? So for me, sometimes they don't have confidence in themselves, and that is the main thing. They don't have confidence. It's not about always trying to emulate what Eddie Reynoso has done, what Freddie Roach has done, what from Mayweather Senior has done, what Andrew Rose has done. It's about you bringing out the new thing that the world hasn't seen before. But they are failing to do that.
Okay, so join the conversation wherever you're watching us. We're live on the Boxing Ghana TV, both on YouTube, on WhatsApp, and did I even say WhatsApp? Or even on Facebook and other affiliates, boxing matchmaking, so many other platforms as well. Leave a message, leave a comment. We'd like to hear from you as well. The main question is, which other boxers takes the mantle when the likes of Richard Commey and Isaac Doge actually faces out? You know, so that's what we are trying to look at. You can call it succession plan, you can call it, but the most important thing is that we're trying to see how we can get some of these boxes. Of course, this was put together by also a very astute journalist. I don't want to mention his name. I just copied the message and I put it here. The only thing I don't agree perhaps will be George Ashi. I don't know if David, you subscribe to my argument. Should George Ashi be?
I would say, it's because maybe his age and where
age,
he's coming
what
from.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, age-wise, George Ashi is I think 38, 39 years.
Yeah, he's even older than Richie Commey. Am I? If my memory serves me right.
I think his age. How long is it going to take George Ashi to become a world champion? But anything can happen though. But I think looking at his age and the weight class that he is now, is bunch of top hard 18 boxers in that weight class. Josh Taylor is there. Jofimo Lopez is there. Ryan Garcia is there. Richie Commey is there. That weight class is now going to be seen as one of the toughest weight division in boxing in the last 10 years. So looking at his age and the weight class, definitely nobody will put him there as somebody to succeed Richie Commey or Isaac Dogo. But hey, boxing, anything can happen. You don't know. Maybe you might get the opportunity to fight for a world title and boom, one punch can change anything. But on the face of the pink sheet, on paper, his weight and the weight class is not going to favor him.
But of course, it's definitely not going to favor him. But okay. But now, David, let's talk about the monetary aspect. You know, many times we talk about our boxers not being so well paid. Is it a case that we should make our boxing much stronger in our own home grounds, or is a case of us trying to enter, as it were, the US, UK market where the big monies are?
Um, and it's all about marketing. You know, to turn a boxer to become a world title, to push a boxer to the American market to challenge for a world title, you need to invest a lot. If for nothing at all, Dobe's last fight in Ghana against Cesar, he won the pace beat and he has to pay the Mexican over $100,000 to come to Ghana to fight. If you don't have that financial backing, you cannot do that. Richie Commey had to pay somebody like Eddie Suleiman, who was well ranked in the WBC, to come to Ghana and fight. So if you don't have that financial backing, it will be very difficult for you to push your boxer to the world market. Even making the WBO belt or paying for WBO let's say sanctioning WBO belt for your boxer, you need to have around $5,000 plus the boxer that you are bringing down to fight. The boxer too can take you like $15,000. So it boils down, if you don't have that financial backing, it will be very difficult for your boxer to be seen at the world stage. But if you build your boxer to that level and your boxer become a world title contention, definitely the money that you invested, you are going to reap all the money. Like with Chicago and Dogboe, those boxers that got opportunity to fight for a world title, for now, I think they have reaped their money, but you need to invest in that boxer. Without having that financial backing, it will be very difficult for you to get to the world stage.
Okay, so let's do a little bit of comparison here. Elsewhere, how do they make enough funds to support the boxers and support the agenda so that we can equally also emulate in our local scene?
It's about having a good talent and investing in talent and getting sponsorship. For now, most of the companies in Ghana are not ready to invest in boxing. Most of the companies in Ghana are not ready to invest in boxing. And for me, you know, though we have like Ghana as a country, it is only one community that has been pushing boxing. Let me put it, whether Buko or let me say it is only Greater Accra or even center. Let me center it in that Gamashi community, Jamestown, Buko, Akotola. These are the communities that have produced a lot of boxers. And we have companies in that same community that are not even investing in boxing.
So should there be something like a particular effort by stakeholders who matter to say that as part of your social responsibility, put this kind of amount into, let's say, a fund that boxers can tap into as and when they need?
Yeah, it should be. It should be. But it says that when it comes to boxing, nobody cares. That is the fact. If you go to Takwa, the Go Face there are sponsoring Mediama FC. Let me divert a little bit to boxing. Go Face Ghana in Takwa are sponsoring Mediama FC. And they are even building a stadium for Mediama. If you go to Obuasi, Anglo Gold Ashanti is sponsoring Ashanti Gold. Yeah, even if you go to Enyenasi, Karela is being sponsored by GNPC. GNPC is a state-owned company, but as part of their social responsibility, they are sponsoring Karela, who is a football team from that community. So I think when it comes to boxing, nobody cares about boxing. Nobody cares about boxing. And it's our time the movers and shakers of that community be on their feet and tell those companies around that it's either you invest in boxing, like you said, there should be a fund that every company should put that contribute into that fund so that it can help in projecting boxing, it can help in sponsoring, or it can help in buying equipment that can be shared among the gyms in the region or in the country. But when it comes to boxing, nobody cares about boxing.
Okay, now let me ask you this: the likes of Richard Commey, the likes of Azuma Nelson, the likes of Ikote, the likes of even Isaac Dogbe, what can they do for these young up and coming boxers that we've actually, pinpointed them up more or less like we're trying to sieve it, we're trying to sieve it, we're trying to pinpoint and, as it were, so that we can put proper microscope on them and zoom in on them so that we can give them all the good reportages and see how best we can brand them. What are the things you think these astute boxers who've made it can do to impact their life as well?
For them to impact in their life, it's not going to be on financial grounds, but it's going to be using their brand to help those boxers.
Mm.
Example, like Isaac is working with Top Rank.
Mm.
If Isaac should go to Top Rank office or see Bob Arum and tell Bob Arum that, hey, Bob Arum, I've seen a boxer in Ghana who is well talented. Can you take a look at him? And Bob Arum said, okay, yes, let me have a look. Let me take a look at him. And he's a fine talent. That is the job that how do you call it? Isaac has done to help that boxer.
Okay.
And a clear example can be cited for Oluwasho. Oluwasho is now being promoted by Lou Bella because of, though Oluwasho is not a Ghanaian, but he's now being promoted by Lou Bella because of Richie Commey. So
But
the only thing that
is it also the case that we don't get we are more or less like looked down upon? Because I watched Oluwa saying his bouts and there was no shred in my doubt, like there was no shred of doubt that the scoring was pretty poor, very very poor. I mean, it's not just I mean, the scoring was very very poor for me, and I thought that the least they could have done would probably have been a split draw for both boxes. Is it also the case that sometimes we get worst off because of, as it were, we don't command the market, and of course
yes,
there are other stakeholders who have their own favorites and they want to push their own agenda?
yes, I mean it's a fact. As we don't command the market. We don't command the market. Okay, let's say this. Let's use this scenario. Um somebody like Azuma Nelson walk into the ring with a boxer. Irrespective of the boxer don't command the market, but you have somebody behind him that command the market. That is Azuma Nelson. So it's about those boxers can use their brand just to help the boxers, but they can financially they cannot do much, but they can use their brand to okay. How do you go to know of Javonta Davis? If you know, it's because of Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Yeah, Mayweather. Yeah.
Yeah, so though Mayweather is investing financially in Javonta Davis, but the Mayweather is using his brand as Mayweather to project him, to push him to the market, and it's working. So the only thing these boxers can do is just use their name, just use their brand to market these boxers.
Okay, so in a situation where we don't really command the market, I mean, if you watch Africa alone, if we are to come together, our market will be much more higher than even the US market.
Yes,
In all these obstacles that confront us, what are the things we can do in order to make sure that we also tap in? Like they say, charity begins at home. What can we do so that we can open the African market and start dominating the African market? So by the time you get to the American market or probably European market, already you have that base. What can we do in that light?
as Africa, there should be one country, either being Ghana, South Africa, Namibia. There should be one country that like we have to zero in or narrow in at that country as the face of Africa when it comes to boxing. That a lot of money should be invested in that country. One, if a boxer is fighting in Africa and the boxer is earning $100,000 just to fight in Africa alone, and you want to bring that boxer to the American market, definitely you have to pay more than $100,000, right?
Mm. Yes.
Our boxers go to Australia, UK, America to fight because of the money. If they are earning that kind of money here and they are winning the world championship, world best here, definitely they will not be taken for granted whenever they step foot in the American market. But because our market our market size in Africa is very poor, that is why sometimes it is very difficult for our boxers to have that market value. But if, like you said, Africa come as one, pick one country and we know that this one country is our Mecca of boxing. This is one country that we know, okay, if we go there, we will make money. No boxer will just pick his bag and move to UK to go and fight, and at the same time, he will be robbed of what he or she is due. So I think if Africa comes, all the federation in Africa, all the boxing federation in Africa comes together to look into this thing and make sure that we have enough financial injection into our boxing in Africa. The Americans will take us serious. The UKs will take us serious. The Australians will take us serious. The Mexicans will take us serious.
Well, indeed, all those stakeholders, the big ones, will take us serious if we start doing our homework right. But David, let me ask you this bit: what are some of the things you think the media can equally also do to help some of these up and coming boxers that we've actually scouted? We see them going very far. What can the media do in terms of the branding, exposure, promotions? What can the media do in this aspect?
I mean, this is not only about the media, but it starts from our school. There's Ghana Institute of Journalism. People go there to study sports journalism. But you have to ask yourself, the lecturer that is teaching these students, is he well invested in boxing? Is he only well invested in football or soccer? So I think it should start from our school. So all the students that will be produced from our school or from our journalism school will know that, okay, this is boxing. They will not be one way media that anytime that they get opportunity to sit on there, they'll be talking about soccer. They'll be talking about foreign soccer instead of talking about boxing. So I think for the media, it has to start from our school. Like I said, it has to start from our school so that we know that the kind of journalists that we are producing to the market, it's not going to be soccer journalists or it's not going to be football journalists, but they are going to be journalists that cut across.
So in this space, can you say that authority like the GBA can actually write a letter or probably an MOU, sign an MOU with let's say the Ghana Institute of Journalism or the other journalism schools bundled around in Ghana and say to them that we want to expand our sport. We don't think that football should be the only focal point. And so when you're teaching, try and let the students equally also, as it were, develop love for boxing because there's a lot of money being made at that side too. Is that the case? Should we say that the GBA can take this mantle?
Yeah, the GBA can write the letter through the sports ministry, through the Ministry of Education, and to those schools because like sports journalists cannot be produced in the country, and their only interest is soccer, their only interest is football. At least there are other sports that they have to know the know because you cannot sometimes that's why sometimes I see our own colleagues being on air talking about boxing, and sometimes they just want to talk about the boxing, but like they don't know the technicalities in the game, right? So I think if our schools or our students are being taught the technicalities in the game, I think whenever they come out from the school or they graduate from the school, they will know that, okay, this is boxing. I have interest in boxing. It's not only about me talking about boxing, but I know the in and out of the sport. So I think the GBA, like you said, can write an MOU through the sports ministry, to the Ministry of Education, and the information will be given to the schools that, hey, you are not only teaching students about soccer, but this is boxing as well. Like if you go to our university, in your first year, you have courses that you can study like 4 courses. In your second year, then you pick one from it. So same as at school, maybe they can give you tennis, boxing, soccer. You can study. In your second year, where you see your interest, then you pick it and learn it. That will help to project other sports. It's not only about soccer.
Should our media houses have a template in terms of their sports presentation where some of the sports in Ghana they will measure on it? I've always said that we measure on the minors and with the minors, and it's been a problem with us. We always measure on the minors. But so can we have a template for all these sports presentation where some of these sports that are actually earning Ghana, putting Ghana on the map, before you come and do your sports. At least you know that you're going to talk about football, you're going to talk about boxing, you're going to talk about other maybe 3 or 4 sports that we can promote. I know that we can promote the over 30 something to 40 something organization and sports that have been listed by the sports authority, but at least we can, segmentation, as they say in marketing, we can pinpoint some and say, okay, this particular 5 sports, regardless of who is doing the sports presentation, these teams must run through. Can there be something
And
like
this and this should be championed by the National Sports Authority, because all the sporting activities in the country are under the National Sports Authority. And like you said, they can send a letter that, okay, we know that you do 100% soccer, but this time, please, we want you to do 70% soccer, and the 30% dedicate that 30% to other sporting activities that are been helping the country.
Okay, so like we said, today's topic was which boxers are likely to take the mantle from Richard Commey and Isaac Dogboe. And of course, as you are aware, my co-host has done justice to that topic. David, we got like 4 minutes to go. I'll give you an opportunity to address any issue that is of concern to you. That will be our editorial. If you want me to start, I'll probably do it. And
Or
so,
you start, and I'll continue my message.
so today my editorial is pretty simple. It goes to our boxers, our promoters, our managers. Now, here is the thing: if you are a coach, it doesn't mean that you own a boxer. So, for instance, a coach cannot say that you can't write this thing about this boxer because he's my boxer. Who told you? Get education. You are stark illiterate. You don't know about that. You can't tell a media person not to write a story on you. You need to go to the court and get an injunction to that effect. So stop talking out of illiteracy and don't say that. And in as much, and look, if you have a problem with a journalist, you should be thinking about the product that you are carrying. The product is the boxer. It is only the boxer that can come out, and even that, it still has to go to the court because it's a public entity. It's a public product. Everybody has a right to, as it were, use it. You understand? So you can't tell a journalist, "Oh, don't be writing this. Don't write story about my." No, you don't do that. That is pure literacy. Get that straight. So to you coaches out there that says, "No, don't write this thing." Journalists write a story and you go and attacking them and saying that you shouldn't write a story about my. You are just illiterate. You don't know anything. To think that some of them have even traveled well and far, trained some of the best boxers, and still harbor this thing is I mean, it's unacceptable to be. I'm just being charitable with my words. Then the second one, which is my editorial, it's pretty simple. Look, the people here in marketing, they say that consistent positioning creates an image. If you go out there and say that, oh, don't give these media houses because they don't probably talk about our boxers, or what you are doing is that, these people are very smart. I don't want to mention their name. They are very smart. They will do as you are saying, but then they harbor it in their minds that, oh, these people, they are not even together. So please, if you are a boxing manager, promoter, or whatever, if a journalist applies for an accreditation, please do well not to intervene. If any case, if the promotional outfit comes to you and says, okay, should we give this media house an accreditation? The best you can do for the promotion of Ghana boxing, and of course for all of us to be big stakeholders and make sure that we channel the same agenda, will be to tell them, yes, they are credible media house. Give them the accreditation, as it were. So let's learn from that cue, because you see, when you bad math, they say consistent positioning create an image. The more you do it, the more you intervene in such circumstances, the more it becomes a problem. Why? Because they've also put it at the back of their heads that, okay, these people, that is how they roll. So please, let's do that. It will help all of us. It's unfortunate that you have some of the bouts and there is no single Ghanaian representation in terms of journalists in those bouts. That's not acceptable. So please, going forward, let us take a cue from all these things, because it goes a long way to hurt our boxing. Then my last one, which is my final one, is pretty simple. Look, we are being handcuffed or hand chained, as in you're already coming from Ghana. Even when your accent is heard, there's already a preconception already against you. What we can do for ourselves is pretty simple. Let's stick as one body, one entity. Let's support our boxers. Bad mathing, saying bad things about bosses doesn't help all of us. Don't you think that they equally have problems of their own? You'll be amazed. Somebody once told me that, oh, in outside they don't take solely. My brother, if you don't know it, just keep quiet. I've seen some of the big promoters handing over envelopes to other media houses. How do you call it? If you are to give somebody a transportation because you invited that person, to your show, it's only right that you give that person fuel back to his production house. So let's take a cue from that. There are certain elements about boxing that must change. Today, that's my editorial. I know that definitely some people won't like it. Like they say, opinions are like the MP, some stinky, others freshy. Is a matter of personalizing. David, let me have your final comment, then we wrap up and get out.
I always say that being a boxing fanatic, I always pray that Ghana boxing will bounce back again.
Indeed, David is actually hoping against hope, and he's working in that regard to make sure that Ghana boxing is back. And of course, we command the world market as well, and even the African market, which is still untapped. Indeed, this is where we have to draw down the curtains. I got so many of your messages. Most of them were commending the show. Some saying that great submission by David. You guys know what you're doing and all that. Thank you so very much. Like I said, this is where we have to draw down the curtains. Many thanks to my co-host Daniel Debikote for that incisive analysis, for that contribution. Of course, I know that we all take a cue from that. Once again, my name has been Samuel Fosini. Many thanks to the production team and everybody that helped it. To you, the texters, to you, the contributors, we are still very grateful. Till we meet again next week, we say bye-bye, be good, and of course, God bless us all. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.